So, when I was a kid, I would race up to the top of the stairs as fast as I could, like it was some sort of silly little game. Well, I must have been about 5 or 6 at the time, I'm not sure. But I know I was very little. Somewhere along the way, a voice at the top of the stairs started to whisper to me. It would make bets with me, such as, "I bet you a penny you can't make it to the top of the stairs." I don't really think there was a certain amount of time or anything. As I said, I was very little, and I probably didn't have any counting abilities. Anyway, I recall just sitting at the top of the stairs having conversation with his voice, about silly things like betting about running up to the top of the stairs. Eventually the voice, well, it was like a whisper of a man's voice, not my own voice in my head, started to bet me with my life instead of pennies. It'd say like, "I bet you your life you can't make it up the stairs, blah blah blah." As I got older it stopped. I never really thought about it at all. I never mentioned it to anyone until one night I was sleeping over at my brother's place. I was about 18, he was about 22, and we were talking about spooky stories. Out of nowhere, I brought up the voice at the top of the stairs, and my brother went all quiet and weird. Before I even mentioned the betting aspect, he said, "Did it make bets with you?" We both looked at each other horrified. It certainly was freaky after that fact. A lot of bad shit went down in my family at that period of time of my life, and my mother, a heavily religious lady, said there was a lot of evil in our lives at that time. I don't at all think it was our place that was haunted. By the way, it was built in the late 70s, and as I got older, I never experienced anything like that again. But it's just weird how we both had the same person at the top of the stairs, making the same bets with us. In my old apartment, my dog would, on occasion, look down the hallway towards the bedroom from the living room and growl for no apparent reason. So, I'm there for a couple of years of this, thinking, okay, my dog has a good imagination. I couldn't have been more wrong. One night, I woke up due to my dog not growling, but barking for all she was worth, and not at the door. She was barking straight at me. I opened my eyes pretty much immediately, and there was a blur of light leaning over me. Very close, certainly less than 6 inches from my face. It was not distinguishable as a person. It more resembled a person-sized version of a colourful nebula you might see a picture of in a science magazine. I immediately got the distinct impression that this thing had been watching me in my sleep for God knows how long, and for how many times before. I had no sense of what it wanted, whether it was malicious or it was just curious. I flipped right the fuck out, jumped backwards to the other side of the bed, too terrified to scream, and at that blur of light that receded to disappear over the course of about 3 seconds, my dog was going to go absolutely ape. So, shortly thereafter, I asked the building manager if anybody had ever died there. She investigated that, and came back to me a couple of weeks later with a yes. A woman had died of a drug overdose in that apartment in 1995, so 12 years earlier, shortly after having her child removed from the custody because of her addiction problems. My dog did still growl at the hallway from time to time, but I never saw it again. I moved out about a year later. I've had other encounters, but this thing was just literally inches from my face watching me sleep. I'm getting shivers now, just writing about it. I lived in a house from hell for 4 years. From age 11 to almost 16, there was constantly something happening. Doors flying open and shut, voices, footsteps. Nothing ever stayed where you put it. I was alone there a lot because both of my parents worked and I was constantly terrified. One of the most gut-leveling disturbing things though was that little girl in my bathroom. Every time I walked past the bathroom door, which was constantly since it was right outside my bedroom, I saw a little girl with blonde, curled hair and a red-coloured dress. She just stood there, staring, looking like a photograph from 1905. I started keeping the door closed so I could walk by without seeing her, but she was always there when I opened it. Once, I stepped past her. I couldn't see her anymore, but I could feel her there. She scared me, but I felt really sorry for her because she was trapped there, just like me, but probably forever. As the years went by and things in the house continued to get worse, she started seeming darker. I felt like she wasn't really a little girl. I knew there was something ugly in the house, and I felt like it was presenting a sympathetic image to me. Then I started thinking I was completely losing my mind. I had a friend from out of town come and stay over for a week. I had not told him anything about what had been going on in the house because I didn't think that he'd come over if I did. After a while he asked to use the bathroom, and I directed him to mine. Not 20 seconds after he left, he came running back in, gasping for breath, and slammed the bedroom door behind him. He started babbling about the little blonde girl who isn't really a little girl at all. All of a sudden, he looked dead still, looked me in the eye, and said very solemnly, "She's not very happy with you. You left and you weren't supposed to." I replied, yeah, she hangs out in there. Blonde hair, curls, pink dress, yeah? He replied, "Yeah, you know that's not really a little girl, don't you?" I almost threw up. A part of me was very relieved that somebody else was seeing it instead of me. My friend didn't use that bathroom again for the rest of the week, and I tried to use it as little as possible too, without pissing off my parents who were non-believers. Eventually, we moved out, and I couldn't have been happier. I distanced myself from it mentally as much as I could. Then, when I was about 18, I took another friend on a road trip to pack up a few things I'd left in the house. My parents hadn't managed to sell it and wouldn't for 5 more years. The moment we got on the property, my friend seemed really uncomfortable. When we came around the bend, in the long, steep driveway, he went completely white. I could tell something was wrong, but he insisted that he was okay, so we got to work. We threw whatever the fuck we could grab into my car and got the fuck out of there at top speed.